Oh, is that film?
No,
and then CG will come later, and we didn't do it that way.
The proboscis thing.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Whatever comes, we'll face it together.
Let's go.
Obviously, the Alien films, going back for the years, so many great actors have been involved in them. Obviously, Sigourney Weaver, but then also John Hurt and Harry Dean Stanton and Bill Paxton, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Were you guys, with kind of any of those previous actors who have been a part of it, kind of inspirations in any way for your characters in this film?
Yeah, I don't know exactly for my character, but John Hurt for me, we're both from the Midlands in England, which was nice. So he was a big inspiration for me. He also had a great career, but very, very I think I read somewhere that his dad worked in Woodville. I think my dad worked in Woodville for a long time, so there was that thing. So definitely John Hurt for me.
It wasn't anyone specific, but I think it was kind of getting that kind of tone from those original Alien films, that camaraderie and their kind of naturalism and how they interacted with each other, and they wake up from the cryo sleep and they're all just eating food and talking. I think that was a big thing in kind of setting the tone. And then, just kind of, I guess, making it our own. You want to put your own stamp on things to keep it different, but you want to capture the essence, and then
definitely.
Yeah.
When you're first handed the script for a new Alien film, what is that experience like of kind of reading it through the first time without giving any spoilers away about what happens? What were your kind of early reactions when you saw the script?
When I first saw, I got the script the night before meeting Fede, and before that, while I was auditioning, I didn't know it was an Alien movie. Okay. I obviously knew there was aliens involved, but I didn't know it was Alien. And then
is that film?
no, and then so then I read the script, and there was things in there that I was like, I think this might be an Alien movie. And then by the end of the read, I kind of clocked. But then it was really.
Did it not say Alien Romulus on the front of the script?
No, it just said Romulus. It wasn't until I met Fede and Fede explained it all to me. It didn't say Alien; it just said Romulus.
Right. Okay,
so I was like, "What's Romulus then?" And then, but yeah, that was my thing. It was more Fede explaining what the movie was. And
I take it from your reaction, Archie, that was a slightly different experience.
Yeah, I was kind of geeking out, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's a few little nods to those original films, and I don't want to give too much away, but. I was kind of fanboying over it throughout the whole script.
Yeah, and then when you get to the set, that must be an incredible experience, especially because so much of it, well, pretty much all of it is practical, right?
Yeah.
What was it like being on one of those sets for the first time? Is it quite scary in some way when you kind of see, the face huggers and all this kind of stuff?
It's breathtaking. It's breathtaking for loads of different reasons. Firstly, us having watched those films, knowing what that kind of space and the sort of design of those ships and the interiors of those original films, and then seeing it for ourselves in these films, because this film's set in between, so it's got a lot of the same design language. So sort of seeing that and seeing the Wayland Yutani signs everywhere, you're like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah. I think also because it fits in between, the first and the second film. A lot of the sets are very, very similar to the first and the second, so I think there's something. It's got its own, obviously, special touch, but they were very, very beautiful. Especially some of those. I don't want to say too much, but there's some sets in there that are very similar to the first ones.
Yeah,
which was great to see.
And the amount of work that must go into building those sets as well.
Yeah,
those set builders are incredible. Breathtaking.
And then the xenomorphs themselves. What do they look like on set? Is it just pretty much as we see them?
As you see it, there's a few different versions, right? Yeah. There's a real kind of animatronic one
guy in a suit.
That is kind of exactly how you would see it on screen. There's one where there will be a guy in a suit, which obviously will be for the kind of bits where you might need to make him crawl or do something, or a stunt or something. Yeah. Obviously then you've got you can kind of see where the head would be and the legs and stuff. That's not as accurate.
No, but they did them pretty perfect. Like, I think everything was just great
they
about
were
those.
they were incredible, and like the way that they move and stuff, and the teeth will kind of quiver, and they'll have like goo coming off the teeth, and the inner mouth can come out and do the same sort of thing. Like, they are genuinely terrifying.
1 or 2 nightmares afterwards, maybe.
Yeah, and the face huggers as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I got up close. The scene's out now anyway, but I get very up close
you
and
get very
personal.
up close and personal, yeah.
It's the proboscis thing.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
This obviously isn't the first time you've kind of come on board a big horror franchise with a devoted fan base. Did that experience of having done the Evil Dead movie in any way kind of prepare you or shape how you wanted to do Alien Romulus?
Absolutely. I think one of the big lessons there, because it was basically learn how to make a movie for a new audience that haven't seen any of the other ones, particularly with Evil Dead at the time, where it had been so long since there was an Evil Dead movie called Evil Dead, because the Army of Darkness was the last one. It was already early 90s. So it had been a long time. So I knew there was going to be a new generation of moviegoers that would have seen them as a new movie. Okay, it's an Evil Dead movie in theaters. Let's go see it. It's new. And there's going to be an older audience like us that would go, like me at least, that would go like, oh, it's just a remake. It's just a reboot. But all those labels mean nothing for a new audience. I remember watching The Fly and The Thing and The Blob in the late 80s and thinking they were all new movies, and they were all remakes or like reboots of stories that were done before. But there's always a new generation that doesn't know that. And I think it's no different with Alien today. There's a lot of young people that haven't seen any of them, that even if anybody in their early 20s might have never seen one of them in theaters. So you have to make it in a way that it works for them, but it has to work for the fans as well. And it's not that difficult at the end of the day, because every movie has a backstory, right? Every story, even if this was the first one, there are always going to be other stories that reference into. There's a past, there's a world. In this case of this movie, those past stories happen to be other movies that got made in the past, and you can go and actually see, which is amazing for anybody that comes in and likes this movie. I'll get good news. You can all, that story they reference about the Nostromo, you can go watch it. It's a whole movie about it. So you have to do it in a way that the new audience can enjoy it without feeling that it's not for them, or without feeling there's moments they don't understand because they missed out because they haven't seen other movies. And it has to be, and the fans have to feel like they're the ones that are picking up all the references and picking up all the connections with other movies, right?
And obviously you've had the backing of Ridley Scott as well, who's a producer on the film. Were you, despite having his support, were you in any way kind of nervous about showing him, or James Cameron as well, the finished product? And was there any aspect that you were like, oh, what if they don't like this? What if they...
No, of course, I was terrified. But because I think the right spirit here is like when you tackle it and when you go in and you're going to write it and direct it, you have to come in with a sense of rebellion in a way, and you have to come in going like, oh, I'll show you how an alien movie it's done. You got to have that spirit, right? And really wants me to have that spirit when I go in. But then once you made it and you have a cut and then you go show it to them, that's when the humbling moment comes that you realize what you've done, and like, oh my God, you're terrified because how can you dare to pretend to show Ridley how an alien movie's done? And then that is the right spirit. And then he watch it and he give me his notes, and I take some of them, I fight other ones, like he wanted me to fight him on, and every producer, once a director has a strong point of view, that's what you always want. So, and that's the fun of it, and it's been truly a fascinating and amazing experience to work with Ridley, and I also have Cameron input at some point when he was kind enough to watch the cut and give me his notes. But it's intimidating, but it should never be something that paralyzes you or makes you, because fear is the worst enemy of creativity. Right?
I don't know. I
didn't really think too much about that. Yeah. I think that was more in Fede was more thinking about that a lot.
I know Fede was talking to us, and he'd been like kind of corresponding with them and getting their advice, which is cool. And they're very, very happy to give it to Fede and give them their takes on it. So
I think I was just nervous to meet Ridley. I mean, what? Yeah. I think the first time I met him was like 2 days ago, right?
Yeah, we met him.
Literally just met him
premiere
at the
in Los Angeles.
Yeah, just the coolest guy.
Also, as well as the xenomorphs, one of the kind of big things in alien mythology that's always played a part in the films is the synthetic humans. And Spike, your character, has a slightly what's the word? Not the best relationship with Andy in the
Yeah.
film, the synthetic human. Were you quite interested to explore that and kind of humanity's kind of relationship with artificially intelligent beings and stuff?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I struggled to do it because David's such a great guy, but yeah, I think that gave Bjorn depth, and then obviously I'm not trying to give too much away, but as the story unfolds a little bit, you find out a little bit more about it, and so yeah, I really enjoyed that part. Also, like sometimes playing someone that's not the nicest is sometimes it's
You
fun.
enjoy it, don't you?
Yeah, you enjoy it.
Believe it or not, he's not.
I'm actually a really nice guy. No, but yeah, it's a bit of fun, and you can dive down that, and which is nice. So yeah.
One of the ways in which you kind of harken back to the other films is that you wanted to, use practical effects and built sets rather than CGI for much of the film. What kind of were the biggest challenges of doing that? Were there kind of certain obstacles that you had to overcome to make sure that this was as practical as you wanted it to be?
Yeah, I think the hardest part is you have to kind of educate the whole crew. They're not that used to that, all these days most crews are used to, well, if there's a creature, they're gonna put it later, and you shoot a plate where there's nothing in there, and then CG will come later, and we didn't do it that way. We had massive, slow, and complicated animatronics to bring to set and have to, deal with them. And so everybody has to learn how to do it, because half of the work is to create animatronics and creatures that look incredible, but the other half is to make it work on camera, which is the reason why a lot of studios don't want to do them these days, because they're worried they're going to create them and then they're not going to look good on camera, and they have to then get the CG to fix it later, and it becomes way more expensive. But I think we definitely succeed in this one. Everything you see that is practical in the movie, it is what we capture on the day. There's so many shots there that are 100% the practical element, and that's it, with no touches of CG whatsoever. So the biggest challenge was that, to make sure it looked great and to make sure it wasn't going to get replaced later, and that meant, me and a lot of the crew to kind of learn these techniques. But thank God we brought the best guys that that do this for a living, that been doing it since Aliens, and with them we figure out a way to do it right.